Thank you so much. And correctly said, we're going to have a case story about food. So everybody who's outside having the food right now, this is where you actually need to come back and hear about how we take care of food. But first things first, I really want to thank that we have Dr. Mir together with me today, because I'm not the only Scandinavian coming from cold countries in the middle of the desert where everything is warm, talking about how we stay cool. And I would like to ask Marcos if I can get a desert certification. As I'm born in Kuwait, lived in the Middle East for 27 years, and been in Riyadh for 8 years, I hope I'm certified to be in the desert, because that's where we are today. Mustafa and I would just like to take you through a couple of slides on some of the things that we think that are important for this particular industry. You just go ahead, just change it. First of all, we're from Danfoss, a Danish global company. We have mainly 3 different business segments. I have an impression that some of you might know our name, as we're a global company of more than 40,000 people working globally. We've been in this industry for just as many years as Saudi has existed. Saudi had the National Day of 95 years on the 23rd of September. We celebrated our 94th year birthday also in September. So we're almost the same age, and we've been together for many, many years. We've been actually here in Saudi for more than 40 years. Being here today, there are 6 megatrends I want us to think about. Because these 6 megatrends, when you look at them globally, for some places, some of them are relevant, but for other places, all of it is relevant. I come from Denmark, and these megatrends are not relevant for Denmark as an entire country. They're not. There are things that have changed, there are things that have moved on. They're not relevant. But having been in Saudi for the last 8 years, my observation is that all of these megatrends are exceptionally relevant right now in Saudi. If we start with the one down here in the corner, urbanization. We're not in the middle of Riyadh, I know. We're in the northern part of Riyadh, or just on halfway to Qasim. But the Riyadh city, the Royal Commission of Riyadh City, have an ambition of Riyadh becoming 12 million people. Today, we're around 8 million. If Riyadh is going to go to around 12 million people, there's a lot of urbanization that needs to take place. The buildings will need to change. For many, many years, Riyadh has been built in 3.5 stories, where you'll actually see more tall buildings in Jeddah and in Khobar, but it's starting to come in Riyadh. And that makes sure that the requirements for buildings is also going to change. And the requirements for cooling is also going to change. And then for those of you that have been here for many years, you'll also know that we are also going to have heating, because when we get into December and January, it actually does get cold here in the middle of the desert. So when you look at urbanization, when we're going to go from 8 million to 12 million just in Riyadh, then you have the major projects around the city. That is something that is important for us to continuously notice. And applying technologies that exist today. Yes, we talk a lot about R&D, and yes, we talk about new applications, but having the technologies that exist today, implementing that will make a change. Then we have electrification. When we turned off on the highway here going to Qasim, I turned right, and what did first thing I saw? A police car. And this was not an American car for a change, it was a Saudi-produced car, the Lucid. That's part of electrification, but a lot more is happening within the entire sphere of electrification within the entire country. I will not be going to the Red Sea shortly for the new assets that are open in the Red Sea, but when you do go to the Red Sea, those of you that have that privilege, which is going to be great, you will have the opportunity to get onto an electrified boat or an electrified plane. So the entire electrification of Saudi Arabia is also changing. We're starting to see places where you can charge your cars, and there will be more things happening in that entire sphere of getting a society that's electrified. And that's where we are also part of that dialogue when we talk about that. I can see a lot of you are sitting with your head down because you're on your phone. And that means you're actually looking at data. When you're doing that, that means that there's a lot of data centers that are being built. And that's one of the places where we focus a lot on saying that when you have the major amount of data centers that are being built in Saudi for the next couple of years, the number of data centers being built in Saudi is more than 3 times what's being built in the entire GCC. That's a lot of energy. And if we don't optimize that energy very fast, we'll be using more energy than we actually have. And that means we'll use more oil, meaning less oil to export. So the whole concept of data centers is something that will be taking a lot of energy if we don't, from the very, very beginning, start talking about it. And then the 2 last one is climate change. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman launched the Saudi Green Initiative in October 2021. Following that, he launched the Middle East Green Initiative, where he's talking about how Saudi wants to become CO2 neutral by 2060 as an entire economy, and with all government buildings by 2050. That means there's a big change in the buildings that are here in Saudi, the way that they are being built. Saudi Tarsheed needs to think about how do we actually transfer this into a new way of looking at it. So buildings are changing. And more specifically, when we then look at food, many of us that have been here for many years have seen that there's a big change in the supermarkets that are in Saudi Arabia. We used to have the old baqalas. There are still maybe 40,000 baqalas. But these baqalas are shortly changing. We're getting the major supermarket chains that are changing, and they're having to build more energy efficient supermarkets because we want fresh food. If we go 890 kilometers that way, we'll come to Jeddah, where a lot of the food comes from, and they'll have coal trucks bringing the food here. If we go about 10 kilometers that way, we have the Riyadh airport, where a lot of fresh food is actually flown in. Again, your cold chain needs to be very, very strong. So the whole food sector takes a lot of energy, and that's where Mustafa, he'll be explaining a bit one of the cases that we have made when it comes to the whole food industry.
Hello, good morning everyone. Myself is Mustafa Sabry. I'm Regional Sales Manager for the Commercial Refrigeration in Saudi Arabia. Nice to see you all here. Today we'll speak about the supermarkets and how much electricity and power consumption it takes the supermarket, especially when it came to the refrigeration, and how we can reduce that energy consumption and power consumption inside the supermarkets. As Ture was saying, we are living in the Middle East, we are living in Saudi Arabia, so everything is refrigerated here. Everything comes by trucks, which is refrigerated, either a small supermarket, small bakala, big hyper, a small supermarket, big supermarket. Each one of us in his neighborhood has a supermarket. I can say in industrial cities like Riyadh or Jeddah, 3% of the electricity is consumed by the supermarket. 3% of the electricity is going only for the supermarkets. We can say average supermarket as per US size is going with 1,900 tons of CO2. 1,900 tons of CO2 annually for only one supermarket per year. So there is a huge potential for all the manufacturers and all the countries to go through how we can reduce that emission, how we can make a more sustainable supermarkets, and how we can take care about our environment. Supermarket greenhouses gas emission are coming from mainly 2 sources, either direct emission or indirect emission. Direct emission with the leakage of the refrigerants is going through directly the units, either it's small condensing unit, small scroll compressors, or a big rack system, or whatever, either if it's ammonia or any other system. Indirect, we have to improve the efficiency of the refrigeration system inside the supermarkets. Mainly, I'm focusing about the supermarkets. We can see here 54% are going from indirect emission and 46 are going for direct emission. 46%. 46 means simply the freon is going out to the environment. People are just leakaging the freon out in the system. If we see the percentage here, we have the small standalone system, which is small scroll compressor or a small hermetic compressor. We have the condensing unit and the big central system. For a small condensing unit, we can say there is more than 5 ton. 5 ton of CO2 are going by direct emission annually. And more than that is going for the central system when you have a big rack system or you have a different racks or a different condensing unit connected together. Just going. My case today is we are speaking about the Danfoss Smart Store application in Norborg, where is our headquarters, in front of our campus. Danfoss take a supermarkets, we call it 365 supermarkets, and it's normal supermarket like the supermarket each one of us goes in the neighborhood, and we want to make sure this is a sustainable supermarket. This is a zero CO2 emission or a less CO2 emission in the environment. So we, in Danfoss, we are not a product manufacturer, we are more as a solution manufacturer. So we use the different type of solution either Danfoss has or other manufacturer has to make sure this is our case study. It's a case study for everyone. We can build a better supermarket. How we do that? We will go through that. This supermarket is a more sustainable one. It's LEED Gold and DGNB Silver certified. We used LED lighting. We have a photovoltaic in 660 square meter above of the supermarket to produce electricity. We have a green roof. In this one, we selected or we choose to go with a natural gas of CO2 instead of ammonia. For that, we use the CO2. We used a different type, a booster system, different type of compressors and evaporators. We used, we can say, energy efficient evaporators, which is come with EC fans, with a high quality one to make sure you have the best superheat coming in the system. This is how the system is connected. The system is connected through 3 grids. Our supermarket is connected through 3 grids, heating and cooling and electricity. We are producing electricity through the solar panel we have in the rooftop. We are producing that, and this is adaptive supermarket, so it's connected to the grid, the main grid. So the time where we are producing electricity, we are selling that to the grid, and the time we need the electricity, again, we buy it for the grid. Why? Because we have a battery storage here, we have a car charging, we have a car charging around. This one's connected to electricity. As I said, it's connected to the smart grid. We need the electricity power for the evaporator solution, and the photovoltaic is producing electricity connected to this one. Cooling one, we are using the cooling definitely for the cold stores inside the supermarket. It's normal supermarket where people can go through, and we have a glass door where you can see all the equipment installed inside. You are most welcome to visit it. Maybe sometimes we can arrange something. We visited that before. Recently, 1 month ago, we had a group of Saudi Arabia customers. We went through that. We showed them how initiative that, what we have inside, what we can do. All the solutions is installed inside. And again, I'm not speaking only about Danfoss product. I'm speaking about a whole solution can save energy. A whole solution can see we can do a different in refrigeration and energy saving. Also, the system is connected to the heating one because we need a heating, and we have a heat recovery system. So we are taking a heat coming out from the system to use it inside the heating in the winter, and again send it back to the grid around Norborg. This is the summary of what happened in the supermarket. We can say the benchmark, if we went it with the normal refrigerant 404A as a Freon one, we would produce around 300 tons of CO2 inside this one. Instead of that, we went with the CO2 to make it more efficient solution or make it more efficient and decarbonized supermarket. So we reduced that to 176 tons of CO2 going out. But we reduce the consumption by, again, how we reduce the consumption? We reduce the consumption by using LED, by using glass door cabinets, by making sure we are not losing any electricity for anything else. So again, we reduced it to 121 CO2 ton. by again using the reuse of heat recovery, as the system is connected to the heat recovery system, we reduced it to 106 tons of CO2. By resource our own generation, by going with the photovoltaic and solar panels, we are producing the electricity, we went to 67 tons of CO2. And again, because if we are exporting electricity and exporting heating to the main grid in Nordborg, we went to 56. And we managed by somehow, by more using a VFD and more power saving solution to reach it to 10 tons of CO2. So if you can see here where we started and where we ended, this is a normal supermarket, which is most of us are visiting in the neighborhoods here. Again, I'm speaking about Saudi Arabia. It's going with a Freon 404A, 4134, based on the application inside. So you can drop it from 300 tons of CO2 annually to 10. You don't have to go for 10, but as much as you can, we can do more. Together we can do more if we collaborated and think more about how we can take care about the environment. This was our application. This was our case study. It's a real case study. If you went to Denmark, if you visiting Denmark, if by any means you visited our campus in Nordborg, you can pass through. It's not inside the campus. It's not enclosed place. It's open supermarket for all the people living in the neighborhood. Thank you.
So we actually built you a supermarket. Go see it. We're not a tour operator, but we'll be happy to show it to you. Last thing, we're a component supplier into solutions. And if we're able to implement the technologies that exist today, we can optimize energy. Thank you.